but you'll have to me instead. But we did bring some very nice things from NASA for all of you that we'll hand out a little later. So when I look at a facility like this, I see it as being a place where people come to be inspired and to take the first step in living their dreams. And anytime I think about what it takes to make your dreams come true, I think it takes two things. You, number one, have to be inspired by something that just gets into you, and it's very important to you. So for me, I grew up at 9 years old. I watched the guys walk on the moon, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, and so wow, very inspiring. I wanted to do space. But then it takes more than just being inspired. You have to have the people around you to nurture you, and sometimes the facilities where you can do things like this. So for me, I was very, very lucky. I got to meet some of the Apollo astronauts, and my parents encouraged me to build model rockets and shoot them into the sky. And suddenly I ended up working at NASA. So when I see a facility like this, I see this as a very necessary part for helping people achieve their dreams. So what you need that inspiration. There has to be something within you that says you want to do something great. And then you need the help of some very good people, like the people you have around here. So I'm very, very pleased to be part of this. In addition to working for NASA, by the way, I do human missions to the moon and Mars. So eventually people will go back to the moon, will go back to Mars. My inspiration, again, came from watching the people a long time ago walk on the moon, and my job now is to get more people like you, to walk on the moon also. But one of the other things I tried to do is I tried to be an inspiration and help other young people. So we have this organization called International Space University, where we bring people in from all over the world who have found that inspiration already, and they're inspired by space, and we put them in an environment where we can nurture their love for space and give them lots of support, and some of them are right here, and they will be some of the mentors today that work with you. So I'd like to thank you for inviting us here into your house. And we're very thrilled to have our space people start working with the Muna people. I can't imagine there's a more perfect connection of two groups. So thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Harvin Moore, who's going to tell us more about how we're going to all work together. So thank you all.
Thanks, thank you. So I'm Harvin Moore, and I'm on the faculty of International Space University, and along with my wife, Janet Moore, who is a professor at Rice University in Houston, Texas, a business school professor. We're going to be leading this session today. And as you heard, International Space University is a graduate program for people that are in or going into the aerospace industry. They might be in government, they might be in private companies, but in any case, they are involved in aerospace. And so aerospace is, as you might know, it is about technology, and it's also about space. And so it's a business, in other words. So it's not only about the dream, and it's not only about the mathematics and the science, but it's about putting it together so that something can happen, that can reach a new location, or go to a new planet, or learn something new. But any dream has to somehow become reality. And so today, what we're going to be working on is we're going to do a workshop on innovation with a focus on how to turn dreams into reality. So a couple of things I want to go over is first the structure of today. And so to begin with, I'll be telling you a little bit about innovation and about entrepreneurship. And I'll be teaching the kids. Who are the kids here? Are y'all the kids? Y'all are the students? Raise your hand. Students? Okay. Any more students over here? student there. Okay, and then we also have Muna, maybe Muna mentors and faculty and volunteers. Do we have some Muna people here?
Yeah.
Good. But let me thank you now for giving your time to Muna, because I know maybe you're an employee of Muna, maybe you're a volunteer, so you're giving your time to this organization so that these students will grow up and be able to do amazing things that today they're only dreaming of, or maybe today their parents only dreamed of. So thank you for doing that. In addition to being in aerospace myself, in business, I'm also on the school board. So in the United States, all of the education for children up to the age of about 18 is done by school districts. And so I am the head of the school district, one of the heads, in Houston, Texas. Does everyone know about Texas? Okay, all right, so Houston is the largest city in Texas. And anyway, so that's where I'm from and my wife. Also, we have a couple of assistants. My daughter, Elizabeth, is there waving her hand, and my son, Quinn, is waving his hand. That's my son. So we're the ones from Houston. Anyway, so I'm on the school board, and what that means is that my responsibility there, that's like you're a volunteer, some of you, I'm a volunteer on the school board. I have a job in aerospace, but I'm also a volunteer. So I kind of do what you do. And so the role of the school board is to try to make sure that the children do learn their math and their science and their reading. They have to know the facts, they have to know the history, but they also need to learn how to think. They have to learn how to work in groups. They have to learn how to be creative. Because if you're going to be successful in life, you need the facts, you need the science and the math, but you also need to know how to communicate. You need to know how to work on a project. You need to know how to plan. You need to know how to understand how to turn a dream into reality. And so today in the United States, we call that STEM, S-T-E-M, and that stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So you see science and mathematics are on the end. Those are the facts. You learn science, you learn mathematics. But in the middle, technology and engineering, those are different. Those are taking the facts and turning them into real work and turning them into real products, real ideas. And so STEM education in the United States, and now all over the world, but it's just a phrase that we use now. What we're talking about is helping students not just learn the facts, but learn how to put them together. And so today, that's what we hope to do, is have a good STEM exercise where we're going to talk to you kids, you students, you young adults. We're going to talk to you about your dreams, maybe your projects that you're working on right now at Muna, and we're going to pair you with one of the graduate students from ISU. And as you heard, the graduate students of ISU are generally in business, or they're working for maybe NASA or for a government entity. They're grown up, and they're in business, and they're going to be your mentor today. And so what we're going to do is there are about 15 of you, approximately, and there's about 15 of them. And so we're going to ask that there's one of you and one of them get together, and then one of your mentors. And then the three of you will work together and discuss your dream. It can be whatever dream. You can think about that in the next few minutes. And the ISU students are going to work with you about how that you maybe can turn that dream into reality. And then at the end of today, each one of you is going to give a little bit of a presentation about how you're going to turn your dream into reality. So the last thing I'm going to do is give you a little information about innovation. Now, a few days ago, I gave this talk to the students of ISU, and it was about examples of innovation, and in particular, a type of innovation that we call disruptive innovation. So, what is innovation? Can one of you maybe tell me what you think innovation means? We have innovation, or one of the mentors, it's okay.
אפילו בעברית אנחנו יכולים לתרגם חדשנות. חדשנות. מה זה חדשנות בשבילכם? סטארט-אפ.
You have, yes?
said a start.
He said, yes?
He said startup.
Innovation, what is it to you?
Startup.
Startup? Okay, so
There is
Yes.
another
idea
another idea.
about innovation?
I want to say what the meaning of innovation is.
Yeah, just maybe a definition of innovation. What would you say is innovation? What is it?
Innovation, to find something that does not exist.
Is what?
Thinking out of the box.
Thinking out of the box.
To find something not exist.
Yeah, that hasn't.
New one.
Oh, yeah, something new, something out of the box. Yeah.
Start of something new.
Okay, so and you might even say that innovation is when you make something better. So you think out of the box and you make something better. So this cell phone here is a little better than the cell phone 5 years ago. Because 5 years ago the screen was smaller and it was not so fast and it didn't have data. So it's innovative, it's a little better each time. But some changes are bigger than that. So there's innovation where something gets a little better and a little better and a little better, like phones, they get a little better. But sometimes there's a change that completely changes everything. So one example of that we discussed was before telephones, there was something called telegraph. Right? We got some nods over here. A long time ago, there were no phones. There were no cell phones. There were no cell phones, and there were no other phones. There were no regular phones. No phones. But there was a telegraph. So there was a wire, like those wires. And there was a person, a little man probably, who would type. Right? And so if you needed to tell something to someone in Tel Aviv or Damascus or whatever, you would go to the telegraph office and you would say, tell them that your mother is sick, come quickly. And someone would type it. And it would go over the wires all the way to Damascus, and then someone would do something. And one day, a person named Alexander Graham Bell came up with an innovation. But it was a very strange innovation. And his idea was that he had a device which could take your voice or sounds, and it could encode it into the telegraph message. And when it got to the other end, the voice would come out again. So it was not just a better telegraph. It was something totally different that no one had thought about. So we call that a disruptive innovation, because after that point, everything changed. It was no longer just better telegraph. It was now something completely different. And another example that's more recent is regarding this. You might know that about 5-6 years ago, you could not use your cell phone for directions. If you got in today you get in your car and you say, I want to drive to Tel Aviv, and it will tell you, right? It will say turn right, turn left, 25 more miles, slow down. It will tell you that. But 6 or 7 years ago, you couldn't do that. Your phone couldn't do that. There was a different thing, which you still see them in the taxis. GPS. It was Garmin and TomTom were two companies. And they developed that idea. It was their idea. It was very expensive. And you could only get it from Garmin and TomTom. Maybe there were some other companies. They were innovative people, except what happened is that the companies that just dealt with cell phones came up with an innovation on a cell phone that allowed you to put directions onto your phone. And it was free. You didn't have to pay for it. And it wasn't very good at first. It was better to use the one that Garmin, the real one. But this one was not so good, but it was free. And so people started using it, and it got better and better. Until now, this is all you need. You do not need the other kind. And so this device, that technology, disrupted the existing technology.